Every night I would dream. I would be running. No matter how much I ran, I still had to go further. Skinny, starving dogs were on my heels. I would get to the shore of a lake and desperately rush into the water. The dogs would be barking but fearful of the water. I would swim out and grab hold of some floating debris. Braver the dogs got as my dreams went on. Further out into the lake they would venture. One day, they would catch me. This isn't a game. This is a diary. So for your information, I'm not going into great detail about all my relatives for you. If you want to know, look it up. Or ask me. Also, I will only bother to describe things in detail if I have piles of time on my hands. It's quite late, only about 11 PM. I've just got out the shower. Anyway, I want to get on with reading, so write more when the clock stops. Laters. So, everyone went back to school today. In a way, I was excited to get back to school. Maybe it was to get away from the family. I don't know why. It's not that bad or anything. Now that I think about it, maybe it's because it's easy to get away with self-harming when I'm away from home all day. I've heard people say it's addictive, like drugs. I suppose in a way it is. I'm just so afraid that my parents will find out. That's why when it's easy for me to get found out, I stop altogether until the danger's not so dangerous. It's like easing away any fears my parents might have that I self-harm. I went to my granddad's place up north for a week with my brothers. I made sure any cuts had healed completely. When I packed my suitcase, I left my razor blades behind, so even if I wanted to, I couldn't. I did make sure I had my penknife in the pocket of my denim jacket. I knew I wouldn't leave without that jacket, and in that, I knew I'd have my knife. But the week went fine, and I was so relieved to be able to wear whatever clothes I fancied, without having to worry about whether or not I would reveal the cuts. When I got home, everything was fine for a few days. Then I confessed to my parents that I needed new school trousers. So, on Saturday, my dad, my stepmom, my baby brother and I trailed to town to get new school trousers. My stepmom says that this shop is a sweatshop, so she was unhappy buying trousers from there. It's not like we had much choice. We don't have any extra cash. But then this triggered an argument. She said if we just had more money, we could buy things from a company that didn't treat their workers like shit. Dad apologised, but his company couldn't help not making money. They were trying their best. She said it didn't really look like it. Dad smacked his head on the nearest wall deliberately. They went on arguing like this until we got home. I'm not going into detail about it for the sake of my hand and your eyes. Dad then started insulting my stepmom's family to get at her, and needless to say, she was crying by the time we got home. I mean, it's no big deal. I've seen so much of it with my mum and dad, and with my stepmom and dad. I'm a big girl, I can handle it and everything, but it upsets me a bit that they were so willing to fight in front of a small child who's only 1 year old. My baby brother was understanding in a way what was going on, or at the very least, he wasn't upset by it. He didn't burst out with screaming and crying like most babies would. He just sat there, looking upset and scared. That was when I started self-harming again, after my break from it all, last weekend, the day after my friend's party. Anyway, today at school was awful. I can see everyone talking about me behind my back when they see the cuts down my left arm. Even my friends are having Huh? Yeah, smoking's bad. That's why we do it. I'm actually in most of the top classes. I don't really need help with my homework, but it's a good excuse to not go home until later. I got grade 2 in percussion at my last school. I got to play the drum kit here for a few weeks, but my dad stopped paying for lessons, so they wouldn't give me any more. We had this assembly where they did role play for different types of abuse. I mean, some of it happened to me, but I don't think I'm abused. I have talked about suicide before, but nobody takes me seriously. We went on this school trip to the coast, at a big venue where apparently Paramore were on stage the night before. I was stage crew. I got to stand on the same stage that Hayley Williams stood on. On the coach on the way there, I took a photo of every pylon I could, an upright structure that is used for support or for navigational guidance. It made me think maybe they were all connected and all supporting each other. I called Mr. H a dick, which may I add, he is, and got an incident slip. I apologised, but I still may get excluded. He wants to put me on report. I said I'll think about it. I self-harmed yesterday. That was breaking my record of how long I could go without. I managed 16 days.
I'd been thinking about this for a long time, planned every aspect meticulously. It was still hard when push comes to shove. The sand kicked up a light dust as I drove in first gear down towards the sea. Sure, the signs said no unauthorised vehicles, but I won't be here long enough for anyone to hold me accountable. I pushed my foot down gently to brake, and the car stopped, happy for a rest. Clicking the handbrake on, I pulled my driving gloves off, finger by finger, and placed them on the passenger seat beside me. I then slowly removed my wedding ring from my finger. It had lost all meaning, really. I only wore it for the familiar comfort of twisting it around and around, while deep in thought. No need for that anymore. The glove compartment has always been stiff, and today was no exception. Wrestling with the handle, trying to force it open, I caught my arm on something sharp. There was a pen sticking out of the glove box. Taking the tip of the pen, I levered the stiff plastic catch open, and out fell a pad of paper. I wasn't really in the mood for pouring my heart out today. My attention was drawn back to the cut on my arm, as a warm trickle of blood slithered down my arm and released a single droplet onto the floor of my car. It felt good. A stinging pain. I took the pen and simply wrote the words, "Sorry," and "Goodbye" onto my pad, ripping the paper off and placing it on my dashboard, as if it was a parking ticket. I held the pen tightly and rammed the nib into my arm, pulling it gently but forcefully across in a line. More blood rose to the surface in an effort to stem my destructive behaviour. But I was done. I opened the car door, pen still in my hand, and sat in the sand for a second, feeling the golden grains stick to my crimson art. The sun was setting, and the sky was a stunning wash of reds, pinks, and oranges. I felt glad. Getting to my feet, I made up my mind. Stepping towards the water, dripping into the sand, my eyes to the sky, taking in the view for one last time. The waves lapped at my feet, eager to meet me and wash away my pain. I waded into the water and just kept walking, with no regrets.
In retrospect, I think no teachers at school really knew how to deal with me. I'm not sure it's entirely normal for a 15-year-old to fantasise so strongly about suicide, and to be able to write about it in that way. Best to ignore it, though. It wasn't really their problem at that point. Today I got detention at lunch. It's because I wouldn't do any work and was rude and was wandering around the classroom. So eventually he cracked and sent me out where I could have a nice chat with Willow because she'd had like a minor asthma attack or something. Then I was told to get a pen, and Mr. H gave me a test for me to prove that I could do the work. My excuse for not doing the work was it was boring, easy, and I could do it already. So I finished the test really quick and got 100%. His face was a picture. He gave me a sheet and told me to sit outside and do it. The bell went and he still gave me detention. I went to it and met this girl who's in my brother's year. She's not a chav, she has skulls on her bag. She totally wasn't a rebel. She only had detention for forgetting her book. But I liked her. Hope she swings my way. Who am I kidding?
One new message and 3 saved messages. New message.
Alice, you need to come back to school. You know you're not allowed to leave the school site until 3:15. Please give us a call back and report to reception on your return.
He goes everywhere with me. I bought a long trench coat like they have in The Matrix. It's handy now because it's almost long enough to sleep under like a blanket. I can't really skate. When I was younger, I wanted to skateboard. Both of my brothers got one, but I didn't. I had to keep trying to borrow theirs. I can go to the library as much as I like if I finish the books I'm reading. It's only round the corner. I tried to be in a band with my friend and her friend, but ended up just writing my own songs. They said I need to talk to social services. I get to borrow this bass guitar as long as I play for the school swing band. They drilled a hole through my ceiling so I can watch TV. I've never had my own TV before. Me and Patrick have a secret Facebook account, so we can talk without anyone seeing. I can't write it in my diary, in case the wrong person reads it.
What's going on? What's up?
I can't say.
Shall we go somewhere private?
I can't!
Here.
They say I might not be allowed to go back to Carly and Patrick's.
Who's they?
The people for Pathways.
And why do they say that you can't go back?
They said someone called saying he was being sexually inappropriate.
And was he?
No!
Not at all. Are you sure?
Yes. I can't be homeless again.
Alice! Wait! take that everywhere with you? OK, if you don't want to talk, let's talk to Patrick a minute. What happened, and what can we do moving forward?
Well, after she texted me, I cycled as fast as I could, and of course managed to get her before she jumped. I think I hurt her a bit pulling her off. But you know, we care for her. I don't really know what's best. Maybe she's seen the reality of what happens and won't do it again. I think she wants to come home. Right, Alice?
So, I'm Dr. Nix, and these are my colleagues. We're all going to complete your assessment together to make sure we make the right decision.
You can use it, but you have to give it straight back, okay? I used to smoke, you know. Gave up a few years back, but I do miss it a bit. You won't be here long. Don't worry, they'll let you out soon.
White walls kneel before the King. Don't ask me how I'm feeling. It's just an impulse, that's what I said. Let me out of here, I'm better off dead. Scared of failing my own suicide. Let me out of here, I'm not alright. Don't you know, silence breeds silence. Swallow me whole, I'll keep quiet. I know you know, in my clothes, bleeding out, yeah, no one knows. Help me fly to the sun, remove my sense, now you've won.